All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we are probably gonna remake, so never mind.
Looks like it. They wanted to go
server.
Eastern, perhaps, or Central.
Yeah, they probably want East because both of the are closer to East Coast. I know, like puCK is pretty close
North
between
Dakota.
Central.
That's like all the way over there.
Yeah, puCK is pretty close to Central or East, also, right?
I don't know. North Dakota's like by like Montana, isn't it? That's
I
closer
got a 8% on my states quiz when I was in elementary school, and I've only forgotten knowledge since then.
Do you know the capital of North Dakota?
North
It is
Dakota?
I know you didn't know. You were trying to Google it, but I was gonna do it before you were able to.
No, I said North Dakota. I'm not even gonna try.
Do you know the capital of Michigan? I just picked a random. I don't know any of these. I want to say Detroit, but I don't even know if that's true.
Give you a hint.
Michigan. Got Poison is in the chat. Like, how do you not know?
where he
Lansing.
lives.
Yo, Lansing. It's not even Detroit. Lansing is the capital of Michigan. If you said Detroit, you are wrong.
All right.
All right, somebody helped me out here. Chaos Ranger is actually a lifesaver.
Oh, we got bets going, maybe?
So we want puCK and JonSnow.
I'm just waiting for you to like never remember to actually like end the bets or like cash things in. So it's just like until the very end, people are like betting and they think that they're betting on like a different series. I guess it says who you're betting on. I don't know.
It can happen.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're finally hopping back into it. And we are going to be starting down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map on top of the blue Zerg player. Give it up for Flipside Tactics, JonSnow pool.
And on the other side, it is our Red Protoss player. Give it up for Roots puCK. Newest member, or one of the newest members
One
of
of
Root.
them. Indeed. But we got a 12 pool coming out from JonSnow. And this is really funny because I need to I would have to double check it, but I don't think he went for the 12 pool in the last game.
Yeah, because we were talking about that earlier. I'm not sure, but he's going for it here in the ZvP rather.
Yeah.
So something that you don't typically will see on Dusk Towers of all maps, by the way.
Yeah, just because it's so easy to wall off that main base ramp, and you can still secure your natural expansion so easily. And you can see puCK is already starting that wall off. He's not taking, any chances. Like some Protoss players like to do their wall off by their Nexus, but it also means taking your natural expansions a little bit harder or more annoying. But puCK shouldn't have any problems with that. In fact, his probe scout also moves across the map. He's going to scout out the Zerglings.
Immediately, right? And he didn't go too greedy with it either. So the fact that he didn't go for Nexus first, which is maybe what JonSnow was hoping for, is going to work out for puCK. And I think with the pylon here, that he doesn't even need to keep alive, like he could cancel it at the last second.
Yeah, he doesn't need to finish a pylon. All he has to do is have that Zealot there on hold position, and that alone will actually hold versus the Zerglings.
He doesn't even need the pylon, yeah.
Oh, there's still more Zerglings coming across the map.
Well, how much does he commit to it? He will let it finish, though, so he's not taking any chances here.
Yeah. And even if he did take a chance, like, I don't even know. I don't think that JonSnow would have been able to break this. Like, I really don't think so, because even with the Zerglings coming out and everything, there would be an Adept coming out behind this, and the Adept would wail away at the Zerglings, and, like, you can easily just add on the pylon again later. Look, the Zealot's gonna get cleaned up, but there's gonna be another Zealot, and I don't know, I still feel like, even though this obviously is not ideal for puCK, he's not really in danger.
No, and he's actually ahead, because he's gonna secure the Nexus here in the back, and then, he already has his tech on the way, right, with the Cyber Core. Even though he's only on one gas, it's all about the economy at this point in the game. So yeah, man, I think he wanted to catch a Nexus first, and he just flipped the coin, and it wasn't able to work out for him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, puCK does actually have a bad rally point right now with his natural expansion, so that is one sort of nice thing going well for JonSnow. But JonSnow invested a lot of his early droning into that big Zergling count. And even the second wave of Zerglings that like managed to kill off the additional Zealot and kill off a pylon and force a kind of weird wall in, that all did come at the cost of drones.
Yeah, and also the hatchery investment too. Like he didn't go for 3x before pool. Like sometimes when you invest something early on and have it pay for itself later, that's always a good thing, right? With like 3x before pool. But he invested in Lings. They're not going to pay off at all this game. Like they just kind of wasted resources. You might as well have just like took, you know, a few of your drones across the map and tried to mine from his side of the map and bring it back home. Probably would have been a better outcome.
Possibly, but here we go. Adepts now coming on in, and we'll see how much damage they can get done. There's 3 of them, so this is more than enough. You can afford to lose one of them and still 2-shot Zerglings and also the drones. But, well, with 3 of them alive, he's going to have a really, really nice time killing off these guys.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting response out of puCK. Dropping down that gateway here for the faster reinforcement at a not typical location. Means that he's probably going to be getting pretty aggressive soon. And I don't know if JonSnow actually realizes what's happening. Has he seen that? Or he's making a lot of Lings and he doesn't have speed yet.
I think JonSnow might just die here. Like, there's 5 gateways done and a 3rd coming down for puCK. And 5 gateways, you think about like the 4-gate aggression you see with Adepts, and it's pretty scary. And JonSnow has no idea about it. He's building a Spore Crawler of all things because he has no idea what puCK is up to.
He doesn't know. Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have Lings out really in high enough numbers to deal with the Adepts.
Nope. And he's gonna try to do it. He doesn't even have speed. He doesn't have a Spine Crawler. Like,
I think he's dead.
What? Yeah, he's just gonna lose too many drones here. I mean, puCK is already up by 15. So even if puCK did absolutely nothing here, he would already be ahead.
Yeah, exactly. That is the big problem.
That's the issue.
Like, the only way that I think JonSnow still comes out okay with this is, yeah, obviously cleaning these up is nice, but he basically has to walk across the map, kill the 3rd, and puCK has to have been playing, like, unbelievable levels of greedy.
This is, like, really annoying as a Zerg player. Like, when your actions in the beginning, like your opener, really comes back to bite you and haunt you for the rest of the game. Because, I mean, he dealt with those Adepts incredibly well, right?
He did. He did a pretty good job of it, all things considered.
All things considered, yeah. So, like, he didn't completely die, but it's more so, like, puCK put the poison in his drink and he just hasn't quite kicked in yet.
More Adepts going to be coming on in because that gateway was pretty well defended by those Adepts that he had warped in, so wasn't quite able to kill that off. But he does also scout out that 3rd expansion. He's not going to be super happy about seeing that. Not only that, but I mean the pylons, like the wall in, everything is finished up. It's going to be a much easier defense now.
Yeah, I don't know what JonSnow is supposed to do as far as pressuring puCK. So, I mean, he kind of has to do his own thing, drone up heavily. He can't do like a middle of the road build from here on out either. Like, he has to go to a full extreme. So whether it be something kind of crazy with, like, you know, Bane drops everywhere, you know, like a Nidus play, there's really no other way. He can't play a strict macro game. Because puCK is too solid of a player.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's exactly what you're saying. He has to do something extreme. And the problem with that against a player as good as puCK is that puCK is not going to be the player that says, okay, I'm going to try and take a risk and, oh, you caught me off guard because I didn't expect you to, like, take expansions that fast or play this greedy in terms of droning or, like, teching up. puCK is the player that will find a build that puts on a light pressure against you and continues to macro up and plays safe behind it. But if he sees that you're playing a little bit weird or you're cutting corners, he's going to find a way to punish that. That is the type of player that puCK is. He
really is. He's a very smart player, and he also executes whatever it is that he's going to do incredibly well. So, you know, getting the most out of whatever it is that he's hitting you with, something that puCK really likes to do at the same time. So, I do fear for JonSnow right now. Like, I think here on Dusk Towers, you don't really have a lot of options to get really tricky. The gold bases are kind of sectioned off by the rocks. So, yeah. I mean, what is JonSnow really supposed to do?
Well, I mean, I don't hate his plan that much right now. You know, you get out a couple of banelings to maybe do potential drops with later, as I think he does have some banelings, even if they aren't really being used for drops right now, or he doesn't have the overlords in place for it. But, well, I mean, maybe that with the Hydralisk Den, he can get a bit lucky, and that's, I think, what he really has to rely on. He has to get a bit lucky with the engagement, and that can very well happen if you get some good hits off. The banelings manage to connect with maybe the sentries or something, and the Hydrals are able to kill off that immortal quickly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things that he could hope for. But as we do go into this engagement, what we're going to see is a kind of numbers game, as puCK does have the better army composition at the moment. With these 10 Hydras coming out, though, Fear Dragon, I mean, this could be, you know, at least the kind of hope that JonSnow can have. But that's so many Stalkers right now.
Yeah, I honestly, I wouldn't hate it if JonSnow just sacked to the 4th. Just to get out more units and try and clean up this army. I mean, it's not exactly like the old ages of Protoss where you used to keep the Mothership Core with this army. If this army gets out of position, it could very well end up dying on the retreat back home. And I feel like that is where JonSnow might have a better luck. Maybe like at least try and make it hard to kill the 4th, but be willing to give it up.
Be willing, exactly, right? Like, it's always that situation where you're like, if I lose the 4th, do I lose the late game? Or can I actually come back from it? And he feels like he can, because he's going to actually engage here. puCK with some really sick force fields at the moment.
Yeah, keeping this army very much alive against any of the banelings. And he also keeps, most importantly, the sentries alive, so he has that sustainability in those force fields.
Yeah.
Sorry if we are getting a little bit of lag. I don't know.
I did, yeah, sorry.
Huh?
This is internet connection?
Yeah, that was a little bit weird. Did you see a little bit of a lag spike there in terms of...
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
I don't know who it is then, but either way, it looks like it's resolved itself, and puCK is pushing on in, but he gets into the beautiful spot. They're going to cut down the surface area, not only for the Zerglings, but also for those banelings, and the Hydras are doing a decent amount, but there's just nothing to tank for them, and they are going to get blunk on.
Yep, and he's going to jump right on top of it. G to the G. puCK is going to take game number 1. And, yeah, you're going to be up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. Wow.
I mean... I'm not gonna say it's a huge surprise, just because puCK is still considered, like, again, Neeb, Masa, puCK. Those are my top 3. Immediately, I can fire those right off the bat as, like, North American players. puCK is, like, one of the best. And JonSnow is, like, he is close to there, but he's, like, that one tier. He's, like,
Kelagod?
Sorry, Kelagod is, okay, Kelagod is really awesome, but I would say Kelagod is a little bit inconsistent lately. Like,
oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. Really? Oh, sorry, phone. Apologize.
Yeah, I just sometimes feel like Kelazor plays like an absolute god, but then sometimes I'll just see him, like, lose, and I'm like, that was odd.
I know what you mean. It's like, oh, well, that just happened.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, well, I mean, I, like, would have given you, like, 80 to 20 odds or something, like, on winning this, but... I guess not.
I was like trying to find like a random name from the bracket. It's like, but you just lost to Half-Breed or
Half-Breed.
Big Daddy. I don't know. I'm sorry. If Big Daddy
is that Pig Baby's mentor?
He's a person that played Kai Fire in the round of 64. Like a random name.
That must have been. That's like that's the return of Pig Baby. He's back.
Pig Baby, yeah.
It's 5 Observer style, man.
Dude. Here we go, man. We're gonna go into game.
I know. We're like getting ready to hop into the game. I'm like looking at Kelazor's matches here. I'm like, who did he lose to lately? He's actually been doing really well lately, so I take back what I said.
Yes, Kelazor's been doing really well lately. I give it up for Kelazor, man.
Yeah, I think just lately he's really only lost to like Major and like Scarlet or Peely Peely.
He just lost to Inertio in the last qualifier. In the finals, I believe, too.
Yeah. All right, we're going to hop to the map intro as we get ready to hop into game number 2. We'll see you guys there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in game number 2, and we're going to be spawning up here at the top left-hand corner of the map. Top of a blue Zerg player who is once again going for a little bit of early game shenanigans. Give it up for Flipside Tactics, JonSnow. And center in on these 2 buildings right here.
Yeah. On the other side, though, to the south, it is our root representative. I almost said flip side again, but it is the Red Protoss player hailing from North Dakota. It is puCK, or according to Zoeg and Tenchi's from Canada, from the Dream Pack.
Oh yeah. You know what? There is a weird thing with Europeans just assuming a lot of the North Americans are Canadian. Like, I actually get told a lot by Europeans, like, "Oh, I thought you were Canadian." I'm like, no.
They say it to me all the time too, Fear Dragon. I'm just like, no, man.
It's like, I make so many Canada jokes. Like, how did you think I was Canadian? I make fun of Canada so much.
Well,
puCK sent out the early probe scout, by the way, so he saw the early pool. He immediately made that zealot, and once again, he should have enough to react. But this is a different map, and I think it makes it a lot harder to deal with.
Yeah, and I think JonSnow is hoping that since it was a 4-player map, he would have that advantage here by catching puCK off guard. But once again, the same way that JonSnow got lucky with the scout, it doesn't mean that puCK, well, it doesn't mean it, like, relatively, but puCK was able to get lucky with his scout too, so.
Yeah, but I mean, 2 more Zerglings. I feel like with 2 more Zerglings coming in, he might actually be able to get this Nexus.
Yeah, he's gonna kill the Zealots.
Yeah, gets a full surround on another one of them, and the last Zealot is gonna be able to get taken out as well. There's no pylon close enough to this Nexus. It's almost guaranteed to go down. There's another, no, JonSnow, actually, wait a second. Huh? Okay, he doesn't go up to the Nexus, because I guess the Mothership Core damage is enough to scare him off.
Yeah, with the amount of lings that he had there, the Mothership Core would have dealt with it. However, with this next influx of lings, I think... Yeah. Oh, the Adept, though. If the pylon's finished...
I mean, JonSnow's sitting on 14 workers, though. Like, this is... He can't just, like, do damage. He has to end the game.
Yeah, because, I mean, even if he kills the Nexus, he's going to be down by 15 workers, right? So you're absolutely right in that regard. I'm just wondering, like... It feels like this is not a lot of lings. I mean, I always thought that this style you'd have a lot more. Like,
he lost a lot of the lings fighting those 3 zealots, and now not only are there, like, the Mothership Core is over here, it's gonna have an overcharge pretty soon. So even though these pylons are getting focus fire down, he has to focus fire down the pylons because there's gonna be a fucking overcharge now.
Exactly, and there goes it. puCK feeling it like he has to do it.
Oh,
and you know what?
Maybe.
Hey.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. Probe's getting in the way, though. He's buying himself so much time. I feel like JonSnow gave up an opportunity to go for it. But at the same time, I guess it would have been really close, so I don't blame him for holding back.
I like this, actually. Getting all of the probes, he's getting guaranteed damage as opposed to
that's true.
Just that chance of getting the Nexus. And guess what? He's going to get that Nexus anyway.
Wow. And he's going to be able to get the pylon and the 2 gateways as well. He may even be able to put a little bit of pressure on that cyber core because he's still making Zerglings.
He's making nothing but Zerglings, and he has a straight shot to the south, right to puCK's base. And if that pylon goes down and the Adept goes down, okay, here comes the pylon at the top of the ramp.
Oh, there's going to be another photon. There's going to be a photon overcharge pretty soon. In just a couple of seconds over here. So he's going to be able to get the pylon on the low ground. The pylon on the high ground is going to be really, really important. It is getting low. He does photon overcharge it, though. And it's going to buy himself a lot of time for the sentry as well. Cybernetics core, though.
Really does. Well,
that Cybernetics core is really important.
Yeah, it did. So warp gate finished, so he doesn't have to worry about the research, but he can't warp in any more stalkers or any more sentries. Sentries are the most important unit here, I believe.
Well, I mean, without the Cybernetics core, he doesn't have the ability to warp in sentries. He can only warp in zealots. So you're right. Like, that is going to be a huge problem over here. But at the same time, JonSnow, he's not going to be able to break this. And okay, finally, we start to see some drones being made. I was like, JonSnow, you've done the damage. Like, I don't know if more Zerglings are going to help here. Oh my God, I'm apparently not as good as JonSnow.
And there's no force field again. So now he's going to be able to get into the. If he gets into the main. This is going to be so annoying for puCK to deal with, but I think he should be able to hold it here. And like you said,
I don't think the Zealot is going to have to get into position. I'm not sure it's... Oh, that was some really, really well done. Just holding the probe there and doing the mineral walking after the Zealot gets barely into position. That's actually a little bit harder to do than you would think.
It is, yeah, because if you mess up just a little bit, those lings are going to get into the base. And
oh my God.
I think puCK holds here. And even though it looks very, very hectic and crazy, I believe he has the advantage but not just with the worker lead, but just the fact that he was able to remake his cybercore, and he also got a robotics facility, so he can make a warp prism, which is exactly what he's doing actually.
Yeah.
He's way ahead of me in that thought, but the counter damage, what JonSnow wants to drone, and now he's gonna have to actually deal with an attack. And imagine this, if he continues to make units to deal with this attack, then puCK's already ahead in workers. He gets his Nexus up, and then he can continue to go into the mid game. So it's kind of a win-win situation here for puCK.
And with this many sentries, and there's only Zergons going to be coming out for JonSnow for a little bit. The Roach Warren is on the way, but it's not quite finished up just yet. So this is going to be really, really hard to actually defend against. JonSnow, when you're making roaches and you're relying on like a massive units to defend that aren't really super well upgraded or high-tech units, you really do want to have more supply than your opponent, but he's sitting 20 supply down.
Yep. And it's not even like there's a huge worker discrepancy, you know, 29 drones to 32 army value. And these are units that can get so much cost efficiency out of them, the sentries, against his early game Zerg army. So how's it gonna go, Fear Dragon? He's just gonna waltz on in. Sup, son?
Yeah, engages just out of range of the spine crawler now as he scoots on back, but forces JonSnow to pull some of the probes. Is just going to be able to continue to rally in units with that warp prism, and there's really not anything that JonSnow can do about that warp prism. It's not exactly like he can send his queens down over there very easily because it's really far back.
And the amount of sentries that are there too are going to allow him to segment them all. Even though the queens can shoot over the force fields. That's the only thing that's going to be able to. The roaches can't. The Ravagers can break them actually. And surprisingly enough, JonSnow is in a, you know, he's not completely dead. It's all about the force fields, you know. And let's see how they go.
There's so much energy for them, and I still feel like there's a lot of sustainability over here for puCK because he is still leading up a small number of workers, 6 or so workers, and he's got tech coming up behind this. So this isn't even like an all-in. This is like a, I'm gonna make sure that you're still making things that aren't drones, or you still aren't, most importantly, I would say teching up.
That is the main problem here for our Zerg players. So puCK knows this already, you know, he's just like kind of dancing left and right, up and down, and forcing JonSnow to really question whether he should be making drones or units. And here he goes with the attack. 7 force fields go down in a nice position, but I mean, I think that's a lot of force fields for not doing too much.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. He killed off a couple of units, but we do have lair tech coming up behind this for JonSnow, so he finally feels like he can go for the lair tech. Interestingly enough, I will say that I think puCK with 38 workers, at this point, like, he's pretty much saturated on minerals, and his main base is mining out, so I don't really know if he's going to be getting any additional benefit from more workers. So he has actually cut that pro production. JonSnow probably going to be in the same boat, so the worker advantage, not really as big of a deal anymore.
It's really not. It's only like that kind of fact that usually as a Zerg player, you're going to want to have that third base up as opposed to having 2-2 versus a Protoss. However, I feel like here in Legacy of the Void with Ravagers, you know, being able to actually make the Ravagers out of the Roaches is going to kind of benefit you a bit more here with this kind of unit comp. Ravager Ling does incredibly well against it, but at the end of the day, right, it's like you're still on the 2 bases. And
I think the biggest thing about it, because you hit on a really good point, is that it's a way for you to almost effectively upgrade your tech, but it's an immediate tech upgrade. It's one of those things where you're not like waiting around for like combat shields or like waiting around for a robotics bay to build and for your disruptors to get out. It's like, I need a tech upgrade for my army right now, and I'm not going to have like this big vulnerability period. And that's kind of what he's given himself with so many of these Ravagers. The Ravagers though, oh my God, that disruptor shot just massacred, like, I would say easily 6 or 7 roaches. GG gets called immediately there.
Yo, my goodness. I don't think he did not expect that at all.
No, he did not.
That caught him completely off guard. Holy moly, puCK. Igosu is what puCK should be calling himself there.
Oh, well, that's a 2-0 victory for puCK. Or was that?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
yep, he won the first game. So, yeah, puCK is going to advance over JonSnow, getting him to, who does he face off against next?
He is going to face off versus the winner of a laser and sort of. But I do want to remind you guys, we are going to hop to a short little break while we figure out what the next match is going to be. I also want to say we are going to be casting both of the semifinals. So the semifinals are going to be held for us, which is freaking awesome, since we are the mainstream. And that means that we don't have to really worry about it. So we can maybe see if we can hop into like one of the games that are finishing up. I think a laser and stuff is out of game.
Okay.
We'll check it out, but we'll hop to a short break first. So we'll see you guys in a little bit.